government screws up just about everything it touches. Okay, it's incredibly ineffective. It's, we hear about the $900 toilet seats and the $700 hammers and all. Everything they do is very, very inefficient. We talked about it yesterday. The Department of Education, billions and billions of dollars are spent on the Department of Education. This department did not exist when I was in kindergarten. There was no such thing as the Department of Education at the federal level, and yet we still got educated arguably better. Our test scores were actually better in those days than they are now. So they've accomplished nothing. You get the war on poverty. They've spent trillions of dollars trying to solve the poverty problem, and yet there are more people below the poverty line than there were when they started to try to help people that were in poverty. Listen, the solution is different. The solution is not, hey, we're going to give you stuff and we're going to take from people who have it and give to people that don't have it to try to equalize things and to try to equalize outcomes. The answer is people understanding what the real message is. We all want to solve the problem. I don't want any children to be hungry. I mean, I'm not, there's no lack of compassion or empathy on my part. I just think the answer is to show them how to, teach a man to fish rather than give him a fish. He'll eat for a lifetime. You've heard that saying. And so I think it's really important that people get the right message, because nobody cares about you except you. If you think that someone else is going to make your life better, if you put your hope on, if you think that your life is going to get better or your only hope for a better life is something the government's going to do for you, like I heard last week, help is on the way. Help is on the way. We're here from the government and we're here to help. Are you freaking kidding me? Mm-hmm. I mean, really, seriously, if that's what you're hoping that's going to make your life better, you are going to be miserable the rest of your life waiting for government to help you. I mean, it's just not the answer. And so government's just gotten way, way too big, and now they have to figure out a way to fund it. We can't raise enough money in taxes. They can't. If they took 100% of the income of billionaires, and the billionaires didn't change their behavior and leave the country and go somewhere else, they just decided to pay it, bend over and just take it, it still wouldn't pay for all the crap they want to pay for. So we just keep printing money, which is going to lead to inflation, and it inevitably has to, because the value of our dollar is going to go to nothing.
This just sort of proves why people are absolutely in love with Ronald Reagan, because the game changed when he showed up in 1980.
But his programs and his policies worked. He was correct.
Well, did trickle-down economics actually work?
Absolutely,
it did.
Yes, it did. Did the wealth gap go up? Yes, but the bottom got lifted. So the question is, if let's say you're poor and you're making no money, and I could double your income, okay, but I'm going to triple the income of Elon Musk. So I'm going to double your income, but I'm going to triple Elon Musk's income, thereby raising the wealth gap. The income inequality is going to be greater than it was. You're the person that's making 40 grand and now you can make 80. Would you vote for that, or would you say, no, that's bad because that's going to make Elon Musk even richer?
Well, I'm not a hater, so I mean, if it's going to increase my income, I'm not going to get mad at the person.
So what's the problem? Is the problem that Elon Musk makes too much, or the problem that the poor make too little?
Yeah, I got to tell you, man, this is a topic I've never been this excited about investigating.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it.
You have no idea how excited I am to take a deep dive into this topic.
I'm excited to learn from
Art Laffer's your guy. We got to get Art in the room.
Well, no, I've had Laffer before, and we've looked at him, and I'm the weird guy that enjoys interviewing people and talking about flipping taxes. I actually like talking about taxes and interviewing.
Let's talk
people
about what
actually
CPA, but not that you.
Not a CPA. I may have been an economist, but to me, it's a guy the other day introduced me and saying, "Today, my guest is an entrepreneur, a content creator, an author, and an economist." Thank you. And he's an avid card collector. I'm like, an economist. First time in my life I've been called an economist. I'm like, okay. I mean, if I, had
and you didn't correct him.
I think the focus should be on driving toward educating the people who make policy toward what actually works. Not what sounds good, not what sounds fair, what actually works.
But I tell you one thing here. Like, I agree if a war happens and shit hits the fan, I do agree. We gotta chip into the country.
Fair enough.
I do agree. If something happens,
well,
I'm like,
assuming the war is makes sense.
Let me
want
put
to
it
set up
this
a
way.
war just to set up a war.
And let me tell you how I process that. If you're running a company, and all of a sudden the company goes through a catastrophic issue that you're facing, say technology, say something happens, but you can recover from. You got to sit there and say, hey guys, you own shares in a company, you own shares in a company, I own shares in a company. Let me tell you what I'm doing. Here's what I'm doing. My salary of $250,000, I'm bringing it to zero for the next 12 months. Okay. I can afford that. I think you can afford that as well. I think you can afford that as well. I'm not telling you to do it. All I'm telling you is why don't we come together, and then you say, honestly, I'll go for 12 months on zero. Great, I am as well. I'm all in because I think we can build this thing together.
FedEx, you know the story of FedEx.
Yes. Then you go to your employees and you say, hey guys, guess what? Here's what we're doing. Next 12 months, I'm showing you my salary. I'm going to zero. And so is Byron, so is Adam. Here's what we're asking from you guys. We are asking you to take a 25% pay cut the next 12 months. Here's why. If you don't take it, we totally understand. We're going to do our best to try to pay you. But we may be cornered to having to let go half of our staff. We don't want to do that. If you stay patiently with us, we're willing to give you some warrants, whatever, to be able to get a long-term thing going, right? I understand if a catastrophic event like that takes place. I fully get it, that we have to kind of chip in and help out. I fully understand it. What happened the last 12 months, does that qualify as that for COVID, where we printed $5 trillion, 40% of all the money ever printed? Does it qualify for us to go into that direction? We keep printing and all this stuff? See, then the challenge for me becomes the following. Here's where I have a problem with Byron, and I need your help as a therapist. Here's what my problem becomes. My problem with it is the following. If we're doing business together, I trust you. I actually really trust you. This is not a script. I trust you as a human being a lot. If you and I were in the business together, you took care of accounting, I'd be like, dude, I know what you're going to be doing. I trust you. I trust this guy in business together, right? He's going to be a guy we're going to be all in. And your motive is going to be to help use every penny in the best possible way to help us stay afloat. So 3 years from now, we're going to be big, right? Or we come back and, hey, say, guys, we built a company, we're doing good now. Same with you. I don't trust who's managing the money today of the taxes that we're paying them. I just don't trust them.
How could you? I mean,
that's my problem. Yeah. The problem for me with taxes isn't I don't mind paying it. I went to Meisner the other day, and when you want to have a cup of coffee, you got to pay this, hey, $11.79 your parking spot, and you pay this machine. It takes you 3 minutes to freaking do it. It's really slow. You get the ticket, you go there, and you leave, right? It takes about 3 minutes to do it. I made a video, and I said, here's how taxes ought to be. Pay taxes for things you use. That parking space, I have no problem paying taxes for that because I'm about to use it.
Well, ask the average person. Ask them to look, even just someone who makes 60 grand. Look at what they pay to the federal government.
So honest to me.
And you say, okay, well, I know I'm paying. What about school? Well, schools have nothing to do with your federal taxes. What about your fire department? That's not federal taxes. Your police department is not federal taxes. Your federal taxes go for the military. They go for roads and bridges. They're keeping a stable currency. But I mean, think about what you pay and think about what you get. And the average person looks and says, this is a ripoff. And it's a ripoff because the government doesn't spend money efficiently. They're not good managers of money. The government, I mean, John Stossel did a really nice piece on this public bathroom. Did you ever see it? Mm-hmm. He's in his
Stossel's a beast, by the way.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Put him on the list. Put him on the list.
No, he'd be great to get him in the room. I'd
Let's get him on the podcast.
Love to come and have him here. They showed this little small bathroom. It was like a box, made out of bricks. And there was a men's and women's bathroom in this public park, and they were interviewing people. Stossel was interviewing people. What did it cost to build this, do you think? The first guy says, I don't know, $10,000. Obviously didn't know. Somebody said $70,000, $120,000. The guesses were, about what it would be. They figured my house is 3 times this size, and that costs this much, so maybe a third of that or half that. It cost $2 million to build this bathroom. And that's the way government works. It's just the way it is.
Is that where you're going with your point, Pat?
Yeah, kind of. I thought so.
Essentially, that bathroom analogy is that.
Yeah, I don't trust where the money's being spent. I remember when we were in the Army, they would show the statements of what it cost, what we paid for a simple bolt. I'm like, wait, is this seriously how much we're paying for? That's how much military pays? I said, dude, if I go down the street, I pay 30 cents for that. How much are we paying? $5. Why? Why are we paying $5?
There's no accountability.
There is no accountability.
Well, this is sort of the biggest problem. I mean, I totally agree, but this is also sort of the biggest problem with defense spending. Is that you were in the military, you get it.
Well, when you have
spending on defense is absurd.
I don't disagree either. There, I again going back to it. I don't trust how that money is being used because there's no accountability to know how they're using that money. So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.